Hello everybody, welcome back to Outdoors with BC Logs. Just want to start by saying a massive thank you to all the comments, phone calls that I've had this week regarding the Splitta 400. It does mean a lot. I will help you out. So we're going to give you my opinion of a review of the machine and some tips and tricks. Again, it's my tips and tricks, not saying it's right or wrong, but this is what I do and I'm going to show you now. Okay, so the Splitta 400. Obviously the conveyor. We've put an additional bit of rubber on. The rubber, the logs bounce down here, hit the mat, and the bounce into there. So all the dust, I will show you, it falls into the centre of the belt, which helps it to stop the build up, which I'll show you now, the build up that we still get, but nowhere near as bad. This is under the belt, all the debris. When I didn't add this extra bit of rubber on, this, we was emptying it out every 30 minutes, every hour, because of the type of material we put through. It's very bitter. You can see, I'll grab an handful. It's very bitter. So that is why we have the rubber on, to help guide and bounce the logs to the centre of the belt, to keep all this debris pretty much centre, and it stays in the cleats like so, and avoids a lot of it going down the side, which in turn, if you can see it, will jam that roller up. And that's why we've got the extra bit of rubber, just to help it along its way. So to operate the machine, we've got the lever that turns it on, turns it off. Here, the speed control of how fast it splits. The lad turns it flat out because he said it's not fast enough, which I think it is quite fast, but the lad likes it fast, so he's got it flat out as fast as this machine will operate. Lift up the lid. And then we've got the top, that just keeps the logs pressed down a little bit. We'll lift it up, put something in the hole for safety, let it rest back on it so it can't fall down while you're inside the machine. You've got the splitter knife, comes out here, in there, and that is the splitter chamber. This one is actually set at 10 inches, which is the size of logs we produce. So this is one of the main phone calls I've had this week from another firewood supplier a few miles away, saying his Splitta 400, the fingers are very stiff. As you can see, mine flow. Saying the fingers are not working correctly, feeding the logs through, and it's making a very messy log, which I will show you a little clip he sent me. Obviously keep the rails here well greased, which helps the knives go backwards and forwards. And again, keep these not too tight so the flickers can move, keeping all the springs on each one. We do cable tie them on because like this one here, look, it comes out. Cable ties obviously snapped, we need to redo that before we use the machine again. So the Infeed conveyor, I touched on this part of the machine in one of the other videos, but we are going to revisit it because this is basically a review of the Splitta 400. Again, my opinion, what I think. Just prop the door with a bit of wood so I don't close on my fingers like it has done in the past. And here we have the other side. Again, cable tie snapped on there. Again, the fingers want to be pointing forward like that. These do need nipping up a little bit on the M10s, 17mm head bolt, because these are now a little bit loose, which we'll get round to doing that again when we do the maintenance before we run the machine. Another spring's come off there, another snap cable tie. I'm just looking back in there. Again, fingers should sit like that. Again, this is loose, so we will tighten this one up when we do the maintenance on the machine. Again, there's a little bolt there on the top, a little bolt, if you can see it, under there. Again, 17mm spanners, and just nip them up just so these still do that, still move, but not too much. That is obviously too much. They've got a bit sloppy. They do need to be retightened back up. To alter the log size, we've got a rod and a pin. Simply remove the pin like so, and this rod can go in all the way to make kindling, and you pull it out to your desired log length. We run it on number 6, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. That is the desired size for my customers. Obviously, depending on who you supply to, they might want a different size log, but this is the best we find setting as we run the machine, which gives it the nice size log. I will show you a little clip of the video that I took previously of the piece size. So again, as you can see, it produces a nice log. We're running on our brakes today. On the flickers, make sure they're all facing forwards, so they're all on that angle, and you should have a lot better running on the machine. So this is just a couple of logs. I'm going to show you, the machine's not turned on at the moment, exactly what it can do. To load the machine, the other question I had this week was, what about knotty stuff? My machine is mincing the logs. Again, if you look, I'm going to show you how I do it to get the best out of it. The log is handle to bar on the chainsaw, which is give or take 9.5, just over inches. When you put it in the chamber, you want the knottiest part, which would be on this end, because obviously that's the Y where it comes off, so that'll be a bit weaker. This will be the toughest part. You want that. Oh, I had to move. You want that this way round. So the toughest part is here. So as you roll it down, obviously it will take it when it's full. The hardest part is what the knife touches first, and that will help split it. If it's the other way, it tends to mangle them on the back plate. But if you split it with the hardest part first with the knife, that'll give you a much more consistency log. Again, this is my review, my tips, my tricks that I like to use. So, to load the machine, simply roll the log in. Now if you look, the flickers have grabbed the log. That is how you want it to be working. in order for the flickers and the feed arms to drag the logs through into the knife. Now if you hit a problem with this machine and it jams or whatever reason, pull it out. That'll cut the machine off. And this is at the end of the feed conveyor, look. Just pull him out. That turns the lever off. Again, this is another part of the machine. I'll show you on the sticker. Get the dust off. You pull to send the splitter knife back, and you push it forward like so, and that will send this back, the feed arm. That will send it back to here. Again, releasing if you've got a jam in there. Like I say, we have got to re-cable tie some of these back on because they've pushed off. Just that's why they've got cable ties on them, just to help the springs stay on, else they jump off. But just make sure all these are all on before you run the machine. Again, my review, what I like to do, not saying it's right or wrong, it's just what I do. All these. Again, closing the lid. The machine won't run with this open. Lower it back down. The lid. Pan around a little bit. Lift it up and come down on the gas. So it's got the gas strut, which is at the back of the side, and then it goes down. It won't go down at the minute because the back door's open. You have to shut the back door first. But don't just go and ram the lid down, pulling it down like this, because it will bend. No, it will bend this gas strut here. This strut here, it bends it. And a lot of people think you can just pull them down and bend the lid. Nope. Lift up, releases the catch, and down it comes. We'll leave it open because obviously we've got maintenance to do on the machine before we run it again. So that's just some of the tips and the tricks and the review of the Splitta 400 that I like to do and what I think is the best way of running the machine. So if you've enjoyed watching the videos, please subscribe, like, comment, share with your friends, and we'll see you on the next one. Thanks for watching.